Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to Dano Crypto. On this channel, we show you guys how to make simple, effective, and easy moves in the cryptocurrency ecosystems. Welcome to the Thunderdome. Welcome to Max Payne, baby. Welcome to the cryptoverse. It's pain everywhere, blood in the streets. But we are going to remain neutrally optimistic, neutrally bullish. And we have someone today, special guest, that is going to help us stay bullish. Because I think a lot of the times when there's been a lot of bearishness in crypto Twitter, whether it be during these Black Swan events, I've noticed that this particular person and this account comes with a perspective of a more macro outlook. So we're going to get into it, and we're going to probably discuss a few different topics. Hopefully, we can get through them. He doesn't have a lot of time, so he's got about 30 minutes. So we're gonna pick his brain inside his brain and kind of take little bites here today. So without further ado, we would like to welcome Mr. Halloween 2008, aka Graham. What's going on?
Hey, Dano, thanks so much for having me, man. It's a great intro, and I'm happy to be here today.
Yeah, thank you for coming on. I know it's kind of super random. This usually we've been trying to plan this like more professionally, and then I figured why not today when the market's just taken a complete nuke. You know, it had a really spicy burrito last night, and it's not having a good time this morning. So I wanted to bring you on and just kind of help us, feel better about ourselves for buying altcoins or for buying meme coins, or, looking at the charts and being like, oh my gosh, especially me being like, I've bought Pulse Chain. I mean, what do I do, sir? You're going to have to help me.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, unfortunately, I don't know, where Richard is with that right now. So I can't speak to the PA, but yeah, no, I mean, it's tricky, right? Nothing like a 10% downward move in ETH in 20-ish hours or so to make you kind of lose all hope and everything. And sometimes that is, I mean, that move came after several other moves down that have happened throughout October, right? So it's not something where all the time it's just one quick move and then it gets digested and you're able to just resume your life. And you could see, I think, the market, especially with where equities are right now, the market having over the short time frame even more of a dip. But I don't think that we've seen the all-time highs for this cycle yet. It just hasn't, flashed off. I mean, especially with Bitcoin. I mean, if you look at things like the MVRVZ score, right, just not even close to what you would expect. And obviously, there's some normalization throughout cycles. We've seen diminishing marginal returns, and you've got to the point right now where the president of the United States is saying that we need to be #1 in crypto. Like, that tells you that it's no longer early. So
yeah,
I'm obviously going to take all of that into account. But even so, I would not say that you've seen the rightly sized returns from a cycle. In fact, it's to the point that for me, it's challenging my belief in the 4-year cycle. I'm still inclined to think we top in 25, which would mean that you're seeing all-time highs between now and the end of December, right? And that's what people tend to forget the most in crypto, is just how quickly it can run up. I will say, like, I'll kind of appeal to authority here. Like, I've been through 3 or 4, like, I started like technically like, I guess 4 cycles ago, but I've really only been through 3.
Yeah,
but like having been through 3, like, I guess, how would I put it? There's always it always happens in like 9 days. Like the run up to the top is always so fast. And you can think to in July, for example, the price action you saw in ETH, like that's the kind of like price action that you experience. I would say that we have had like new entrants to crypto. Like, I can think of young men that reach out to me and that are invested that were not in prior cycles. So I don't think that there hasn't been any onboarding. But if you just look at it on both an institutional and a retail end, we just haven't had that blow off the top euphoria. If you're looking for reasons to get bullish to, on the emotional end, I can give you plenty of that, and we will throughout the half hour here. But one technical thing that I do want to have people look to is the flows into ETFs. It's my belief Yeah, it's my belief, having my experience on the institutional end of things, that you're probably not going to see crypto recover in the short term until those flows do. There's just not enough power on chain, right? And that's why you're seeing the lower highs, right? Lower lows.
Yeah.
But it's not about to be some washout to the bear market. But it's still tough. Like, you need to do what's best for you. Last cycle, between May and July of 2021, ETH went down by 50%. And then it went and made a new all-time high for November, right? And my
Yeah.
just, experiential feels that we might be kind of somewhere like that right now. And I recognize that we're all on different timelines, right? For some people, you can hold through that. For some, you can't. And even if you can, as hell, like I held, I've been, holding ETH from freaking December of 24 through April of 25. That was just like, like mentally, and we're talking about the major here. I haven't even got into the minors. Like personally,
Yeah.
and I would do this every day of the week, but like my impermanent loss on like ticker Bitcoin LP is like millions of dollars, right?
I would imagine, yes.
Yeah,
Because
of course.
your responsibility kind of almost as like a, because you're a part of the team, you're the quote, like, dev of the team. And we'll kind of get into that, but you kind of have a responsibility to like, hey, I don't have to sell the coin. I remember watching an interview where you were like, I don't have to sell the coin like most other kind of devs or project people who are at least running the project have to like, they have to sell it because or they don't say they have to sell it, but there's all the reasons why someone will sell.
Sell it. I get why they do it, because they haven't made it. Like, I'm not saying they're evil people for that. It's just an advantage I think that our team has had.
Yeah, so it's relative for that too, but I like the point that you made is like everyone's portfolio, it's all relative to when they got in, like what coins they're holding. Someone's portfolio right now, even when the market's down, could be up like 5x, and they could scoop out some profits and be like, and kind of hedge like that. So
no, that's a really good point. I mean, like your entry, just because the market, like your entry, you always have to remember that it's about like your entry and your exit, rather than like these kind of abstract market concepts people will come up with. And personally, I've been in situations where, like, I can tell you one like anecdote. I had this like big lifetime goal, to make like a certain amount of money, and the market like it hit all-time high. I went like way past that goal. I'm like, full greed, like, hey, let's do it, right? The market comes down about like 25-30% from all-time high, and I'm like right at that goal. And even though I felt like it was kind of locally bottomed, I remember like I sold, everything, sidelined, and then was like watching the whole time, because like you're not truly sidelined, right? You don't actually think it's over. You just want to, psychologically, it's like, okay, I've so many times in my life I've achieved this goal and then not realized it. Like, 7-8 times, it's finally time to just do it. So you have to do what you got to do. At that time in my life, like I needed to be able to step away from my computer, right? Like you get into a point where you're not living life. And I want people to go and be happy. But yeah, as far as the market goes, like red candles always retrace the hardest in crypto. That's just the fundamental truth of it.
Yeah, you make a lot of good points. Like, and basically the main takeaway is kind of, it definitely is all relative to what points are coming in, and that's the term. You get the price you deserve. Whenever you're, when you buy into whatever it is, it's like Bitcoin is really true to that, and even ticker Bitcoin as well. Like whatever price you buy Bitcoin is kind of like, it's just what you deserve as the price. And then you end up. And a lot of the people, what's funny is with Bitcoin, specifically BTC, is there's the story of they finally got onboarded, they took the pill, and then they got fudded out of the bag, and then they ended up buying back those same bears that became super bearish and like, I can't do it, I just can't handle it anymore. And the conviction, because it is tough, it's like, this game is not easy coming into what is like, I think is the new money markets. Obviously, like, this is where everything's going, so there's going to be all this FUD, there's going to be funerals held, there's going to be the die off of the old system, which is going to be like, they're going to like hold on a little tight, but now it's like, if you can't beat them, join them, aka Western Union, and Solana taking over Wall Street and Nasdaq on chain, and
they got paid for that deal, by the way, just so you know.
Oh, for NASDAQ for the whole
Like,
Solana
no, no, like
or
like that's Solana paying Western Union to do a partnership.
Oh, yes, I know, yeah, I know.
Not
But it's
to like hate
funny
on, like, I have
because
friends who are like soul people, but just
I
saying.
was freaking out because I, like, 2 days earlier was on my stream with, I have a decent amount of people watching, but I wish there was thousands of people watching because they would have been like, "This guy," because I said, "What?" I said, "I'm predicting it right here. Western Union is gonna be on chain because they're not gonna want to miss the
The good call.
dude, literally like like a day later, I saw the post and I was like, "Oh my god!"
No, that's a great call. And I was going to say too, like to your point about Bitcoin, like you can get fudded out and you can get FOMO'd out too. Like when I first got into the scene, I was like just before and then after Willy Bot, which was this like thing that drove the price of Bitcoin up to $1,000, but it was like just wash trading it. And all of these like older like gold bug types, like these like 45-year-old libertarians, basically, they all like dumped that top. And on Bitcoin Talk, they would like dunk on me.
That was
They
when
would
it
like,
got to 1,000.
yeah,
Was
it
it?
went up to like $1,000, and
Yeah,
then
that was
like,
like that first initial like pump where it kind of hit the news. It was like starting to.
so like it was, what's really interesting? Like people, I like feel like this is like maybe like a mean opinion of me, but I feel like honestly, like people like don't realize how big of like depending on your age, like it's probably really your fault for missing Bitcoin. Like I was rewatching
100%.
Parks and Recreation. I was rewatching Parks and Recreation a couple years ago, and there was an episode that came out in 2013 where they talk about Bitcoin. Like that's on like national TV. Like yeah, I know it's like every like
Don't you because like when you talk about this, it reminds me of me being such an idiot.
I'm not. I'm not.
I knew about Bitcoin when Andreas Antonopoulos was on Joe Rogan's podcast talking about it when it was under, I think it might have been under 1,000. I don't know if it was
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah. No, back then
it
it
was
was. It was.
probably under 1,000 when he came on the podcast for the first time. And I was like, okay, okay. Okay, Bitcoin, and then I went back to playing World of Warcraft and playing
But
video games or
bro,
doing music and just completely ignored it. Then couple years later, fast forward, I'm on tour. I go to this guy's house, big house, mansion. He works in tech and finance and all this stuff. Find out he's mining Bitcoin.
yeah,
And I
yeah.
still ignored it like an idiot.
I mean,
I mean, like, God, I just go back and I think if I would have just been like, that was the sign. But I wasn't
it's
ready because
it's okay.
probably
Man, like,
I would have
more
sold, I would have did something stupid. But at the same time, I feel like such a dummy.
Well, no, that's partially what I'm trying to say is like even everyone who is in the scene, like all these people, like their bags, like I know people who traded Bitcoin from like $10 to $70 and then left and like never came back. Like just these crazy people. And like
Yeah.
some people like they made like $1.4 million on their bag, which would be worth like, 180 million or something today, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's something where like even if you feel like you missed out, like oh I didn't participate, the people that participate. I mean, the first like I think when I first like started like buying Bitcoin, it was like 300 like $275 $300 or something. I'm not worth $50 million or anything like that, so it's what I mean.
Because you've probably had your moments where you're like, I mean, you just have a life, people that are even trying to hold it as best they can. They're like, well, I gotta do this. And people always make the joke with Vitalik with ETH. He's like, well, he got a girlfriend again. Now he's gonna be blowing that ETH.
I mean, it's not, it's life costs, and it's also just the euphoria. Like
Yeah.
like it is hard. Like I didn't grow up like it wasn't like I grew up poor or anything, but I did not grow up wealthy or whatever. Like when you all of a sudden have like your net worth just goes from like nothing to like 6-7 figure, like that's for anybody. That's just a crazy feeling, and you will naturally be like, okay, like this is like what I gotta lock in. This is where it is.
Yeah.
And then just also like the times too. I was like a kid and I was spending Bitcoin. I was like a freaking Silk Road user for, like just buying, drugs and stuff. Right. So, oh, I guess, yeah, not,
No,
yeah,
no,
YouTube.
you're fine.
I wasn't like a
You're
hard,
fine. I'm totally kidding. I'm like the
okay.
feds are watching. No, just
No, it was like, college and everything like that.
yeah, I know.
but I would see crazy stuff on there. Like I remember seeing like a police badge, like and everything was nuts.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I've gone back and looked at it. Like I've spent like just, millions and millions of dollars in Bitcoin on that stuff, and just, it is what it is. You can't, you kind of have to
Yeah.
just, like, I think that's the big thing about life is you have to practice neutral thinking, right? Because to be optimistic is to be obfuscating the truth to the positive side, and to be pessimistic is to obfuscate it to the negative side. You have to kind of understand that it is what it is.
Yeah, yeah, it's a very good point. Very good point. Okay, so people are saying that Bitcoin is currently falling again. And
Yeah.
I kind of want to get your take on this. A few, I don't know if it was like a week ago, maybe two, I don't know how long ago, at least a week or 2 weeks ago, I drew on the chart on TradingView on Bitcoin and I said Max Payne IQ test. And it was at this big buy order because the Lux Algo order block detector. Are you familiar with that indicator?
I actually can't say that I am. No.
Okay, so I let me share this tab. I'll show you. Let me know if you can see this. Can you
Yeah.
see that?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, so you see that big green block?
No, I do. Yeah.
Okay, well, so I always see that that's a lot of liquidity sitting right there. That's kind of like the line in the sand because that's 100K. We've been over 100K since June, I mean, for a while. We've been
I do
over
agree
100K
that
for.
we can test this. Yeah.
Yeah, so I I'm thinking it hits there. I'm thinking it goes to 98 or 100K, scares the shit out of everyone, and I drew this a while ago saying that was going to be the IQ test for people to really truly believe like this is going to be the shakeout of all shakeouts, and
Yeah,
then
I mean, if you look
everyone's
at,
already been calling for the bear market. So what do you think?
well, I was just going to say, sorry to interrupt there. I was just going to
You're
say
fine.
that if you look at the open interest too, there's now more of an incentive for the market to pump, right? Like, if I think I was looking at it and it was like there's a few billion, dollars to be liquidated if we were to pump up to like 118K, for example. So that's just, I mean, that's always the momentum of it, right? Like I
Mhm.
guess to give a little bit of background to me, before I did Ticker Bitcoin, I worked for the largest market maker in crypto. So
I was gonna get to that. We started chatting, and I was like when can I segue into asking actually your backstory?
I'm
But
I'm just too excited to talk to you, Dano. I just have so much to say. You're such a good host, right? So, but just I don't really need to go on about myself. Just to say that,
that's
like,
why you're here. I don't want to talk. The whole point is for me not to talk. I will run my mouth for hours. I've proven it.
you're good.
And,
You're a
and my
great
wife,
host.
I'll come out of the office, and my wife would be like, "Are you okay? Like, what is
I'm,
wrong with you?" And
I'm
I'm
just
like, "I'm
saying that
sorry."
I'm listening to you. So that's, but yeah, but I guess just sorry to put myself back on track.
Yeah.
Like I know from on that institutional experience that there's only so much like incentive you can have to one direction. I always tell people you can only ever ask yourself like how long will the current momentum sustain itself? And the
Yeah.
reason why is because there's always going to be an incentive for that momentum to flip. And the incentive for momentum to flip long is just like always stronger. Like I'm not trying to say that bear markets don't happen because like of course they do, but like I think that everyone seems to know that across all risk assets, like it is an up and to the right tendency. Even you talk about like lost decades in equities, like those are extremely rare. So I think that people know this, but it's just very easy to kind of get caught up in like the day-to-day headlines and whatnot. So yeah, as far as like that Bitcoin chart goes, you hear like apparently like Wall Street CEOs talking about how the market needs to come down a bit. I find that funny because it's like my assumption is the reason they're doing it is to essentially like CYA for like when their stock price does potentially go down. But I know that like anyone like in the CT world is going to be like, oh, like they're orchestrating like the bringing down of prices so they can like manipulate and like go pump. But what's ironic is like that is probably what will happen. Like you will probably see like this short term like flush out and then like some kind of even if it's just a relief rally recovery bounce, right? Like I don't think you're seeing like topped enough in equities or crypto for like in crypto when the bear market hits, like it really hits, like we're going to get like a 35% minus 35% a month and everything. And so, you will obviously know. But right now, yeah, I don't think we have the. Oh, I also want to say, if you're looking for a black swan event in like suing Binance, like that's not going to happen. Like no one's going to sue Binance, just in my opinion.
Yeah, I have. I'm sure if you had been tuning into my live streams, like when all the CZ stuff was going down, or just I was furious. I was like, we can't get away with this. I was going insane, but it's because I just feel like I was getting frustrated with the narrative on crypto Twitter with some of these big accounts. They were just like not addressing some of the elephants in the room, and just the whole way of him being pardoned, specifically this,
it's because you been like Binance like is such a horse, like not just a horse, they're a house in crypto, and like they just have so much money and presence. And so to speak out, like personally, for example, like like we're listed on Binance Alpha, like I'm not about to go like
I know that's what makes me mad. That's what makes me mad, Graham, because I feel like I've given loyalty and been like, oh, and promoting these things in crypto. And I want to get in because I want to pick your brain about this too, because there's a lot of controversy going on with these exchanges and it pisses me off because I feel like as content creators, when you come into the space, automatically you are incentivized to promote affiliate links and exchanges.
Oh yeah.
In a way, it's like you don't have to, but you end up doing it. And what is I find, and I stopped doing it, by the way. I'm only gonna promote like wallets, like cold storage wallets, and like old school boomer crypto shit. And I hope it serves me well, because I don't want to lead people to the slaughter, because I'm seeing all this stuff happen with these exchanges where at a certain point you make enough money on these exchanges, and if they're no KYC and everything's registered offshore, you have a 50-50 chance of getting your money back. Like it's theirs. It's essentially all theirs, right?
It's very well. What's very interesting in like institutional trading is like, the concept of title transfer. Like when you're doing OTC, and then also when you trade on exchange, you enter into what's called a title transfer agreement, where you do give up the rights to those tokens. And last cycle, we saw this manifest in all the lending platforms, right? Like Celsius, that went down.
BlockFi and all that,
yeah, it's fine. We were in the same building as them, actually. But yeah, it was, I guess what I would say in terms of exchanges, people don't realize how much they make. There are exchanges that no one even talks about that, they bring in $1 billion like revenue every year. And it's all because of perps, right? Perps is the true
100x, yeah.
People are just degens. And also like I'm not going to, again, because of just for the sake of the project. And then also just, I want to make sure we're not ruffling too much on that end. I won't get into who, but I think it's broadly understood in the industry that for many years, exchanges have like run stops and whatnot, counter traded their clients, right?
If you're trading it even yourself, you feel it. You're like, how did they? You're like that. It almost seemed like they were watching my order, because you'd put in an order and all of a sudden you see they go wick down right into your stop loss or your liquidation. But it's funny.
This is one I can talk about because they're literally dead. But I was, working in trading when obviously FTX was around. And actually, to tell you the truth, they gave us a lot of great gifts. Like I went to some great sporting events, like for free.
That's how they get you. They butter you up. They're like, oh, we'll send you everywhere.
It was great. Yeah, no, I do miss that part of them. But they we stopped trading, long before they went down. We stopped market making on their platform because it was just too toxic. Everyone would get picked off. And I'm not going to get into like what other venues like where I worked at market made on, but you can think of like the major CEXs, and like at the time there wasn't necessarily like a retail perceived risk differential between FTX and those other venues. Like it might have been seen as like toxic in some ways, but not maybe more than other places. So yeah, with the CEXs though, like they have a lot of money. They've been around a long time. Their relevancy is becoming like probably more challenged than ever now. So I think that's really changing the game, and you can see that in like what CZ is doing. Like the whole Aster arc is, he's always been a part of trying to be what's big in crypto. Like, remember when he did broccoli, that meme coin? You know, like he always wants to be.
I'm here
Yeah,
every day, brother. I see it all.
I know. So yeah, but that's the thing. You do have to. Crypto is
Yeah.
so much of like, be with the new thing. Like I've
Yeah.
seen so many things die in crypto. It's ridiculous. Like
Yeah.
there a project you can. I was totally forgot about this. It's like some metaverse thing. It's called like, maybe it was Wilder. Well, that's a different token, but I'm not shilling any of this stuff. But
There's
like
so many metaverse things. I got into a dead metaverse NFT project
yeah,
called Billionaire Zombies Club. I was like, it's gonna be
yeah.
the next big thing. It was gonna
Oh,
have a game. It had all this. It had a DAO and a token, and I got airdrop the token.
you would expect to see a little more of that this cycle, I think, before the cycle's over, like some more like kind of like new project euphoria. But yeah, like this metaverse token went to like 2 or 3 billion last cycle. I totally forgotten about it. Like it's rugged to nothing now. Yeah, most stuff outside of the majors does like trend to zero, and then it becomes like this kind of like cabal type pump thing. Like right now, like I'm not, I don't know who's what's going to happen with it, but like ICP is the current like cabal pump token. It was also Dash a couple days before, and then
Yeah, I was
obviously
noticing like a ICP out of some of the privacy coins were starting to kind of lift up.
ICP. It's so funny. ICP wasn't
Well,
even traded.
ICP launched at like over $1,000 or something a token, and you look it on exchanges, and it got rugged like so
Well,
hard. What happened to that?
ICP. Yeah, that wasn't like like that launch wasn't like that price wasn't real, if that makes sense. Like it didn't like.
The wick was like, if you look at the wick, it literally soars all the way to 2,000 and then goes and just crashes right down into like 150.
Yeah,
Just
no, it
insane.
wasn't like it was being market made at like 150 at the time. I can say that. So I don't know
Crazy.
exactly like what I think it just was probably like back then. Sometimes like when launches would happen, like the market was so immature that market makers and exchanges legit would not exactly know like the right depth for the order books. Yeah, and you would
That
get
is
like
$2,762 on Binance. I was like,
yeah,
what? I was like, that's
yeah,
insane. And then a few days later, I think, well, it took maybe, okay, so then it ended up at $28 in June. Just like,
yeah. It
man.
also was like, yeah, but ICP is like certainly a cabal like favorite at times. But yeah, it's funny though, because it wasn't traded OTC really amongst the biggest desks for a while. Like as late as like 2022, 2023, the cabals were like pumping it, and they would go like looking for like, quotes OTC, and people would be like, oh, we don't, we don't have that, so
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, I'm gonna test you. What chart is this?
Let's see. What's the years that I'm looking at?
This is the daily.
This is the daily chart from July of 2020 or May of 23. Oh, that's ticker Bitcoin.
Let's go. Of course, you should recognize this chart from a mile away.
Oh yeah, no, I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
dude, that chart, man, that chart, it's crazy how much I've lived that chart like
It's a
since
fun
for the
chart.
past
I'll tell you,
2.5
that's what, honestly, it was no KOL. It was no like somebody telling me, oh yeah, you should buy Harry Potter Obama Sonic 10 Inu. It was all purely organic on my own. I just started to look at the chart and go, this chart is crazy. I was like, it feels like it goes to the absolute bottom. It's going to get destroyed. It's never coming back. And then I look at the memes, and it's hilariously, ironically symbiotic with the coin that lived. The whole lore and the whole vibe behind it, and it comes back. But it
Yeah,
represents the like you said. It's funny, you said this in an interview where it represents each pump was the memes, and we're at euphoria, or we were in
yeah,
like something was happening where it was a catalyst in the market, and then ticker Bitcoin in those points had its kind of, you had a chance. And then there were people that obviously, there's all tourists of any coin, but I feel like the ticker Bitcoin holders, like, we'll even hold through the pumps. We'll even buy the damn tops because we have a mental illness. But yeah, I guess like I've really, I've really liked the chart. Let me go to the deck screener because this one is a little bit better. So I'm gonna pull it up.
I've heard us called the heartbeat of crypto before, so I guess
yeah, the heartbeat. That's funny. Let's see. Let's go here. Yeah.
yeah, that's
I've marked out every point of where I've personally could have been a millionaire already.
nice.
You know, just making like because I discovered this coin way too early to not have already like done really well with it. So I've just I can be transparent. You know, I've done this with Wojak, I've done this with Pepe, I've done this with Ponky, I've done this with Ticker Bitcoin, I've done it with multiple memes where I had all of the info I ever needed. I had all of the keys, and then the intuition to be like, okay, something's here because I bought all of them. But I freaking fudded my own self out. I did too much. I tried to leverage trade. I tried to do all this stupid crap that basically destroyed me. And so I've had to have a come to Jesus moment, Graham, and it's really actually helped me because I'll tie it all together because I have an ADHD. So I'm gonna fly this plane. We're gonna land it. All right. So the exchanges, the CZ thing, 10, the massive liquidations, the exchanges being shady, people like the white whale and all this stuff coming out saying, oh, MEXC didn't give me my money. And then now Ourbit's not giving people money. It's all this questionable stuff. And it's all stuff that I have personally used or I have promoted. And so I had to have a look in the mirror and say, do I want to be a part of the problem? No, I don't want to be a part of the problem. I don't want to lead people to the slaughter. I want to have people to exercise a healthy crypto portfolio, understand the risks, and not give them false hope, but give them a sense of like inspire them, you know, just to kind of like learn and just go on chain. Because that's what we did in the beginning. We just fucking went on chain and we tested stuff out. We didn't know if we were going to lose all our money or not, but it was the risk we we're going to take. So that's so like I just want to go back to the basics, you know.
Well, I mean, you talk about earlier, you said you fudded yourself out of things. Like, I would just really emphasize what I said, where really the only question you can ask yourself in trading is how long can the current momentum sustain itself? Because any other way that you look at it, you will find a way to like FUD yourself or FOMO. Like it's because if you're like basically like, oh, like I want it to like go down and then I'll buy back in, you all of a sudden will start to be sensitive to any kind of price creep up. You know, the other way around too, like, oh, I'm going to sell when it hits, you know, this mark. Anytime it goes down, you're like, oh, maybe it's not going to, like, you can't even think about price really, if that makes sense. Like it has to just be about the directional momentum of the chart.
Yeah, basically has to be this meme. This one right here. Don't care, didn't ask, plus you're gay. It's basically
you or someone else
basically that's me right now. I'm like,
you or somebody else corrected the grammar on that though, because the original has the wrong form of your on it, which I've always thought is like really on brand for you know. But no, man, I'm sorry that you had to have negative experiences too. I love that meme too. That you had to have negative parts of your experience to feel that way. But I really do.
No, I needed it, man. Because here's the thing, like. I tried the trading leverage thing. I actually did pretty well. Like I kind of had the mind for it. I turned $100 into 10K on an account, and this was from trading just Bitcoin, ETH, and I think Pepe, and there was one other coin, but I kept it really simple. But I just kept aggressively taking profits. I would go re-enter back in on limit orders, and I was just like I was just chopping, slicing, and dicing. And I didn't really realize what I did. I don't think I really realized like what I actually did, because that's not like common. It's not common.
Yeah,
$100 into freaking like almost 10K. And I think I didn't even realize what I did. So I took it like I made it so fast that I was so irresponsible with it on the way out that I just totally cooked myself. But I thought if I would have just been like backed up, step away from the ring and just take the money and then put it in gold, or literally put it into like a 401k or whatever, just go boomer style, I would have more money now. I would have way more money now. I'd be more better off. I mean, it's just sad. It's very sad to come to those conclusions, but you have to, because if you don't, you'll be in this delusional mindset of, you know, like, no, I want to learn from this, you know.
But here's the thing, you can control the process, but you can't control the results, right? And like the process doesn't have to be that you go trade into another asset. Like I think that, you know, Charlie Munger.
That's exactly what I did. I was like, oh, let me keep going. Let me get this casino. Like I was the classic gambler that the casino let win. They get you like really euphoric, and then you try to go, and then they're like, then we got.
What I'm saying though is like you also don't need to think about the opportunity cost of putting into like gold or stocks or whatever. Like you don't, like people like Charlie Munger, who is Warren Buffett's right-hand man, he talked about how trading is giving yourself the fewest opportunities to be wrong. And I really believe in this. Like it's very rare that I actually trade, because like I'll go even like years basically, because you know, every time you trade, you're giving yourself more opportunities to be wrong. And if you can kind of just have the mental fortitude to make it through, you know, the swings, both euphoric and negative, you'll find like your decision making is more clear. And in your case too, by the way, you know, I've seen like I just recently at Token, a friend of mine, he told me about a guy who's been pretty big in crypto Twitter for a bit, who he is literally down to his last $1 million. And I know that sounds like, oh, only $1 million. He was worth like probably 150 or 200 million. Like
yeah, he had a lot of millions, and he's like, oh.
Yeah, and like,
and that hurts.
No, it does. And but here's the thing, he's so degen, like he's just a huge, like the same, like, you know, the same life traits that will make you that kind of money in this world will also lose you that money. So you have to fundamentally change. Like if there's any advice I could give people, is that like what you have to think of a here there path, and what gets you here is not going to get you there. And oftentimes, like just because something was successful for you and getting you from here to there, it doesn't mean it's going to be successful in the next here or there path. And in fact, it could be like your downfall. And if there's anything that you can,
it's like you can try and keep correlating your strategy of how that worked, but then it could not correlate in the next in a completely different market structure, you know.
Yeah, well, especially our world. I'm being very specific to our world because like I know like, you know, 99 out of 100 people get taken out by the risk parameters we have. One person ends up making it, and then that kind of is like the poster story. In my experience, like most people that make it, it's not from playing the money games, but from either being friends with the builders of them or building. And I'm not even telling you that you need to go release a token. Honestly, just do stuff like what you're doing. Go to conferences, like meet people. Like crypto's so friendly. Like people just give stuff away all the time. Like half the people that make it because someone who's like super freaking rich just gives them a bunch of tokens. Like it's happened to me. It's happened to like most everybody I know. You know, just go be friendly. Like I really think everyone has the capability to do it.
People happened to me. Graham, it hasn't. Who's giving you tokens? No,
but seriously, it will happen.
Telegram. That I mean, what do you? I'm just kidding.
It will happen though. I believe that like if you go to crypto and you take a genuine interest in what other people care about, and then you have like some kind of value offer to bridge them to, like they will naturally look to bring you into their thing. And every 100%. bull market, like people just do so well. Like these people print billions of dollars on nowhere. They naturally get euphoric and give it away. Like people get to this stage where they're like, oh, you know, $200,000 of our token, like that's nothing. Like just, you know, so it's like that, you know, that does happen. And I really believe in people's ability to do it. I think that like people are way too, like the way people act in crypto, it's like you have to be this like alpha, you know, genius, like
very charitable, and like you have an opportunity when you can make like this type of wealth, you can do something with it. You can do something really cool with it, you know.
And people are just so generous in crypto. Like I just think that it's not like I don't think that like trying to make it through like aggressive trading is like the best strategy. Like I think you should trade, but I think that if you just become friends with people, you will 100%. Be like, you'll not only have the knowledge of what's being built, like you will just get zero cost basis stuff, right? Like people will just like, you know, give you tokens, right? And I know so many
products to test out or whatever it is, like, you know.
but at the end of the day, people want number to go up, right? And so like, I can't tell you how many people I know that like the only trading they do is with a cost basis of like 0, right? So it's just like, they just have this bag and it's just kind of like going up or down. It's like, what's going to be like the exit price? And from experience, like that's a completely different situation trading, because you don't have this mental concept of like, oh, I'm underwater or I'm above, like if it goes to here, like I made a mistake or something, right? And that's like why crypto trades the way it does, because it's not fair in that sense. But the kind of like interesting thing is that as unfair as it is, the ability to get to the unfair side is way more accessible than it is in the TradFi world. Like in my experience,
that is perfect, a perfect example, because it's such a double-edged sword crypto can be, because you do really have so many niches that if you can figure it out of whatever that edge might be, because it could be NFTs. You could be like deep in the NFT trench and you're just killing it. I mean, you just know how to find what's popular, what people are flipping, and then you could also, like you said, like the metaverse stuff, you're like, all this stuff is dead, but hey, who knows? You might be like the metaverse saint and you know like exactly what's popping off. But yeah, you can, but you do have like this amazing opportunity to lose it all and gain it right back,
Oh, and to lose it all, like I remember one time I was like moving my entire life savings on chain. Like I was going from my cold wallet to a hot wallet to like go, sell everything like it's the top, like let's sell and whatnot. And there was a guy just hunting me, he was just, dusting me every time with a wallet that like looked like mine, just like trying to get me to send him everything. Yeah, I know. And it's just like, ooh, it's like that's our world. It's like everyone's just trying to, they're out for you all the time.
Yeah. I've been like, because my wife she's been such a saint. She's been really supportive. She's been kind of like my therapist, like during these times. And like when because I've had moments, I've had the classic like Wojak screaming in front of the chart, like literally having moments where I've like wanted to like destroy things, like go full Hulk mode, because you just sometimes you just feel like you're like, oh my God, I've been trying so hard, and you're like, damn it, and you just like you kind of lose it. And so yeah, and it's so funny because it is the classic meme. It's like I think that's why I have a soft spot for Wojak, and I'm gonna pick your brain on this because I have this tinfoil hat theory about Wojak and Pepe of contract lore.
What's your tinfoil theory?
Okay, because I always have to talk to the devs. I got to talk to the people that were back 3 years, kind of reviving the memes, because obviously Pepe was that coin that was contracted that helped revive the trenches of the NFTs dying off. I mean, like NFTs were dead. No one was like it. Everything was boring, and then all of a sudden, Pepe hit the timeline. And so, but then it spurred like Ticker Bitcoin shortly after, because I always go through like Mog's contract date. SPX 6900 was after Ticker Bitcoin, obviously. But then you got Pepe right after 3 days, 4 days, you see Wojak pop up. And then about 12 days later, you see Mog, you see all these different coins. And I like them. Like, I'm like, they're all hanging out in a room together. And they were like, all right, you're going to launch Wojak. We're going to launch Pepe. All right, let's see which one does the best. Now, I have no idea, but.
Yeah, but no, it was like it was actual spontaneous, order or spontaneous creation, which I think is cool to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, your timeline is accurate. So Pepe came out in April of that year, and I actually was working on it on the institutional side actually, and that's what kind of
stop it.
That's what.
Oh my God.
That's what got me to understand too, like, oh, this meme season's coming, right? So that's what led me into the Ticker Bitcoin ETH launch, because I wasn't a part of the BS.
Why can't I have you for 3 hours to literally just like we can go on
I'll stay a bit longer. I pushed something actually, so but basically, like, I could feel like, yeah, this is coming in, and so could VMU, right? He had the cognition to get everything there to go write the smart contract. But yeah, you would be correct that like Pepe came out in April, we came out on May 10th, and then a bit after us came SPX, and then Mog in July, Wojak, to tell you the truth, I don't know who devved that. Never really
See,
known
that's
their.
what I'm trying to. I've been because they pay it. They kind of repost my stuff sometimes, or they'll like my stuff, or they'll see my comments, and I like that chart too. I just don't know if you've ever looked at it. I'm not trying to
Yeah,
shill Wojak, but I'm just very curious about
I mean, I remember
the.
that, it was one of the, like when we were all having like that original ETH meme season, right? It was a
Yes.
part of that. I think for Wojak, it's a little tricky. I don't really know like what, like, yeah, it's great. They have like so much liquidity locked because, yeah,
Yeah, that's what always I'm like, look, they got the liquidity locked. I was like, it memes and mimics perfectly with Pepe and Ticker Bitcoin. I'm like, it's one of the most recognized. I'm like, it's such a good package. Like, and so for my thesis, and I'm sure like you might agree with this because I've looked at the wallets. Like I've went into the wallets who are holding at least over 10,000 or more of these particular tokens. And this is like APU, SPX 6900. They're all holding the same tokens. They kind of figured it out. And I'm like, okay, I think that's the play. If you were going to be wallet watching and trying to quote copy trade some of these ETH whales, they know that at these points where it looks like absolute trash is usually when people are loading up because, I mean, we just
it
kind of
kind of
see the overall trend here.
it kind of depends because for some of those people they just have such a good entry that like down there is like fine, right? Or like
Yeah.
when you have like certain size you have to like keep stuff liquid, or it can be like people like me who are on the team and just aren't going to sell. I think with like with probably like the tokens that still have like a pretty active community like us, SPX, right, Mog, like I would feel a little more confident about those as opposed to something like Wojak, where the liquidity is really good because of kind of like we all launched this stuff back when like this stuff was nothing, right? And it like
Yeah.
it turbo X, right? So it wasn't like it was 2023.
It's kind of like the ETH LP is like strong, right? Is that kind of what
Yeah,
you're?
but
Yeah.
to that end, when everything does pick up, like it should pick up to some extent with it. I just don't know if it's like a relative outperformer to the group. You're probably going to see like with the active ones because those will also be like traded more liquidly. Like, with us, we're like on a ton of different exchanges. Like we have, multiple market makers traded OTC.
Yeah,
And
that's
then
what I've noticed with the bubble maps. I've looked and I'm like, damn, like actually the exchanges kind of have some decent supply. I was looking, I was like, hey, Bybit. I was like, Bybit bought a bag. So
yeah, it's so funny. When I got this
yeah, let
artwork,
me put it
we
up.
were listed. I think we were, yeah, I don't know. You don't have to zoom in necessarily, but yeah, this artwork that's behind me. We were listed on, I think, like one of those
There we
exchanges,
go.
and now
Now you're. Oh yeah, you look way better. There we go.
there you go. Yeah, we're now on all of those, save for OKX, which no one gets listed on OKX. So, well, you can replace that with Coinbase or something like that.
Yeah, and that's
But
actually that's what I noticed because I've been going on the Ticker Bitcoin website for a while. Even like when I first discovered the coin, that's the first thing I clicked on. Because when you're going on Dex Tools, Dex Screener, whatever it was, at the time I was more on Dex Tools because I kind of went back when Solana was like first having its like Solana season in like
yeah,
2022. I was on Dex Tools a lot, and I was kind of going in the trench there. I was like trying to swap and figure out what the heck was going on Solana. But then at the same time, that's what got me onto the ETH memes. And then I was watching Ivan on Tech. I was using Morales Money, and do you know Morales Money? Are you familiar with that?
so I no, I can't say it's a
It's just
product.
like it was just they were building this thing. It was basically to just see what people were doing on chain. And it was just like, and it had a score. You could see like how much volume was coming in. They would rate it. You could query it, do filters. So I would always filter out like what ETH memes are going. And this was during the bin.eth thing with Bitcoin and that whole thing. I was seeing Ticker Bitcoin. Ticker Bitcoin came up, and I was laughing at the same time as Ivan was. He was like, "What the is Harry Potter Obama Sonic Tiny?" And he was like, "Look at the website," and he was just dying laughing. So we kind of discovered it at the same time. And I said this in my mind. I remember the moment I discovered it and I saw the website. I was like, this thing is either going to go to zero or it's going to just go to like billions. It's just going to be one of those funny jokes. Like, it's just like, it's so perfect of this like mashup of memes. I don't know if another project is going to be able to like do better than that. And
Oh
that was
yeah.
my thought process because I was really deep in the whole trying to figure out, oh, what's the best meme? What has the best community? And I said, this is hilarious. This is hilarious.
And you
It's
use the right heuristic too. Like the project's website used to be the best way to judge how something was going to happen, and
yes,
that's
good
why
website.
it was. The website used to be everything, and that's why VMU built what I called when I first saw the website. I said, "This is the greatest piece of internet I have ever seen," and that was why I wanted to be involved in the project. It had nothing to do with like any kind of like price or what it was.
Thank you very much.
Like, yeah, no, it was cool. Um, it's like too
Thank you so much.
quickly done, and it just has like I think it conveys the. Oh, I think I got.
Oh yeah, no, you're good. See that
Uh,
website? It does it every time. When I pull it up, it crashes everything, and then just
yeah, that's because we have
it's
that
such a
crazy website. But yeah,
disruptor.
it's to say that like it brings back that kind of cozy, comforting feel you have. And so yeah, when I saw this, I was like, oh my god, like same type reaction. And I think that it's unfortunate that we're in a world where like I mean these tokens don't even have Twitters anymore, let alone like a website, right? So it's or Telegram. So that's too bad. But I guess we're just kind of like old millennials, right? Having like a Telegram where everyone chats and everything.
It's my favorite Telegram. I tell my wife, I'm like, it's basically like a decentralized chat on the internet that it's very much like you don't know what you're going to come into if you open up that Telegram. You could, it is not, just don't even.
Well, I go to confession over Maine because I'm like, how am I supposed to, and when I say Maine, I mean our chat, like, I'm like, how am I supposed to go to heaven when I just have these people fomenting just like absolute sin?
It just burns your eyes. I mean, you're just like, what is this sticker pack? Oh my God. You're like, what
Oh,
is this?
don't even get me
These
started.
sticker
Or like
packs are just insane. I'm like, don't do it. Don't do it. But
well, I think
this,
what really like is brutal too. Like I don't know how I'm gonna like seriously like spiritually get past this. Is like I didn't create it, but we have the TITS command, right? Which like there's like literally over like 35 different photos of different women who like wrote HPOS 10I or like Tigger Bitcoin on their breasts and like took a photo of it. And so it's just all these like photos for, and the guys love it. And like, I'm not here to impose like my,
just repent for your sins, Graham. Just repent for your sins. We all have to.
I once went to a priest over crypto stuff. I was like, because I was like worried that it was like too much like in the numerology direction, not necessarily like price forecasting, but like the content like that we were creating stuff. I was just like, oh, this is like all about like, I was like, I don't know, like, but he was like basically like, as long as you're not leading people away from God, you're okay. So look at Maine.
What you just said is very important because that is, I've had a lot of kind of awakening moments of getting back into, I guess, Christianity and learning about Jesus and just trying to listen more and trying to follow what God would like me to do instead of what I want to do because I'm an idiot. I would rather like try and
Yeah,
listen to like a higher self or higher power because
it's
like I
all
think that would
about,
lead me in a better direction and for my family. And I've
yeah,
noticed when I have started to tune in a little bit more, things do go better in my life. So it's like it is a pattern, you know.
yeah,
And so
100%.
so my message is like, and I'm sure you've probably had this feeling too, like as you're explaining, is to do right by that feeling. And then you have to, in your actions, like for me, like I have an obligation and a reputation for my community to make sure that I'm not leading them down some path that's going to make them turn into a damn gambler or whatever it is, like kind of leading them to this stuff. I want to be very honest, transparent, and just being as genuine as possible. And hopefully, and so with the gambling stuff and the leverage trading, it's always felt so like not right. It doesn't feel right. And I started to notice this over time. And I think that whole thing, like we talked about just earlier with the whole liquidation events and what like one of the biggest ones was just recently, the 1010, now it's called 1010. It's like this event, uh, it really put the nail in the coffin for me. I was like, yeah, I want to try and like really help people. How am I going to do that?
Well, I mean, it's not going to happen in the financial world. I'll tell you that. Like, I once went to confession to a priest when I lived in Manhattan when I was working in finance, and he directly told me, he's like, yeah, you're going to have to find a way out of finance. Like, that's just not gonna work. And it's true. It's a PvP world. It's awful. Like, every dollar that I have has come from like someone else in that regard. And sure, obviously people open up a restaurant because they want to make money, not because they want to feed people. But when you go and eat at a restaurant, you want to spend the money for their food. Like, no one enters a trade hoping to lose, right? But one person is, and so our world, like, that's why I try to say things like, don't look, I try to just be honest, right? Like, not, just give people full transparency, don't look to make it through trading, go these other ways. I think crypto really is like the most inclusive world in many ways, but even though it's inclusive, it doesn't mean that it's full of sunshine and roses. And the gambling aspect of it, the PvP nature, it's impossible to get away from. So as you as a Christian, right, in our identity that way, I think we have to ask ourselves, like, who we are isn't about what we have, it's how we treat others, right? And you're not going to be able to bring your crypto to heaven, but you are going to be able to bring how you served God. And so the question then becomes, what is my vocation, right? Like, I'm using my time in this manner. I'm trying to be productive and, bring value to myself and to my community. When I do bring value to myself, how do I then, bring that value in a way that serves God? Because when we go and hit it big on a trade, it is fair to say that we haven't really like helped anyone other than ourselves, right? It's not like when you go like, sell some kind of product that changes the world and everybody is like, better off because of it. And this doesn't make us bad people. And like, one of the best blessings I've had in my life is the charitable works I've been able to undertake because of my experience in crypto. And I think that is why crypto is so charitable. Like, I think there is a truth to why people are so giving with it, is because I do, this is like the last person crypto Twitter wants to hear me quote, but I do believe what Anne Frank said when she said that deep down, we all really are good inside. And I think that people's natural tendency towards goodness, which the founding fathers also saw, right? Their natural tendency towards goodness, it makes them recognize why they should be charitable in crypto.
Nice. I think we should just end on that. That's a good note. That's a good note. I want to end on a really nice, good note, positive note, because people are probably hurting right now with the markets going down, Bitcoin being what it is. And
it will, and it's probably going to go down a bit more, so I hope that they're okay. But, like I said earlier, like on the majors, like the red candles retrace the hardest. Like, it all depends on your timeline, and we're all on different ones, but I'll be praying for everybody, and appreciate you having me on, Dano.
Yeah, of course, man. I really do appreciate you. Of course, again, thank you too for the random invite. This is very much, but this is why I think crypto is so cool, and why I have that got that spark of inspiration to come into this space, because it kind of just reminded me of like everything about my childhood and how what I learned about just like kind of like, in moments where you had to kind of teach yourself about stuff. There wasn't someone around there. You didn't have your parent there. You didn't have your buddy to help you out. It was just you. And then I always remember it wasn't always just you by yourself. It was you and God. It was you and Jesus. Like, and that's the thing that usually makes me end up crying or being like, woo, because I was like, oh, I thought I was alone. It was like, you were never alone, son. And then you're like, and you have this breakthrough moment, So it's like,
no, you're truly never alone. It's very true. I think that, that's something to always remember, is that, God, he incorporates our free will response to his grace into our entire lives. So everything you do, it is on your own volition, but it is with him and always with his love coming to you. It's just if you decide to receive it or not.
100%. Yeah. You just have to be open to receive, and it's tough.
Yeah.
Oh, when you make yourself open, that's when other stuff likes to come in and test you as well. So it's like,
yes, no, the devil's always testing us. And I know we're wrapping, but I'll just quickly say that what you said earlier about, trying to listen for what God wants for you instead of what you want for yourself, that's a hard thing to do. It's hard to do, no matter how much you're actively trying to do it. You know, we always have our natural worldly will, and especially when we live our lives in crypto, which is like the most worldly thing there is. Like, it's not exactly what Christ wanted, you know, of us. So so
it's the most degenerate slime kind of space that you can get into. It's like, but also at the same time, it's like, I mean, we can do so many cool things with it. So it's like, I'm glad
yeah.
that you mentioned the charitable aspect of it. And I think ultimately, if it depends on the type of person you are, that when you do make it, your true colors do show, because then what you do after with your good works and the money and the you know, this wealth that you accumulate, hopefully you use it to help other people as much as you can. And then it ripples out, you know, and that's the whole thing.
Yeah, no. And I think most people do, which is why crypto is great.
Graham, thank you so much. I think actually we will be able to hang out in person, because there is
Yeah.
going to be talk about what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about.
The Art Basel party. Yeah, that's true. I should mention that. So we do a yearly party for Art Basel. It'll be, normally it's actually the Saturday. I think we're gonna be doing the Thursday, but we'll get that communication out shortly. But it's the first week of December. It's in Miami. A really great time. It's the only event where you can come meet VMU, Yo-Yo, Morelight, and me. So if you think that we're all worth meeting, and also a lot of cool, there's gonna be
Celebrities.
there's gonna be a cool lot of European Sprotos coming. Like Dima and Fabi are coming, so I'm, you know, really excited to see them. But yeah, it's going to be a great time. I personally love Art Basel because not only is Miami in December really nice, it's unlike other conferences where, you know, people like at other conferences, it's a crypto conference, right? So there's booths and like people have something to sell you. And I never go to that part of the conference, right? You just go to the side events. For Art Basel, like, it's not a crypto conference. So the only events going on are like crypto people that have nothing to sell you, but they just like did really well this year and they're just enjoying themselves. And even like brands that you wouldn't like I went to the Pudgy Penguin event last year and it was a wonderful time. You know, like, it was a really, really cool venue. It was really great. A lot of really cool people there. So, you know, definitely think that Art Basel, if you're going to go to like one crypto event, it's actually like, even though it's not a crypto event, it would be the one I would highlight to go to.
Yeah, it's a nice gateway drug into getting you into crypto, you know?
Yeah, and you know, I mean, it depends on who you are, but like there's the art aspect of it too.
Yeah, yeah.
Obviously, Art Basel is like, so it's on the billionaire social calendar. So there's a lot of high net worth individuals there. Like, you always, I'll leave you with this like quick story. Like, last year we're at the bar for our party and I'm talking to this guy, this like attorney who, like, this guy looks like he was put in a microwave. Like, he's lived in Miami for like 30 years now, you know, like, just, you know, the leatheriness. And he's like telling me about like how he's an attorney. And he's like, I came down here because I saw all those drug cartel guys. And I was like, oh my God, I can make millions of dollars representing them. And then he starts bragging to me. He's like, you know, DaBaby, I just got him off. He shot someone in Walmart on camera, not guilty. You know, he's like just bragging to me about this not guilty verdict. And sure enough, like later on, the woman, Julie, who How To with Julie Sue is her Twitter. She's a really cool person. She's a longtime community member. She does our events for us, and she came up to me.
I remember her. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, Julie's great. She came up to me and she said, like, you know, like, he had basically, I looked it up later, it's like a $25 million apartment that was like the majority of the building above us. Like, he had to come downstairs from it.
Well,
Yeah.
what he did is he did what all smart people do. They see a problem and they find the solution, or they're like, oh, this is that, like, they're going to need, you know, it's like people that are hot are going to need some popsicles. Let me go sell them some popsicles. Like, that's kind of like,
I think you're right. And
that's, I think, crypto is like, we were here talking about crypto for years, testing all this stuff, and retail's not even close. They think it's still a beanie baby. So my problem that I want to solve is come in as a crypto consultant and like, pay me money to help you, so you don't get scammed by some like scam on an email or get phished, you know?
I think you're doing it right, because I would say here's the formula. Like, my personal experience was like, working for the largest market maker in crypto obviously gave me a lot of clout that I could then leverage into starting my own, you know, like consulting, advising, and like, you know, bringing my knowledge into Ticker Bitcoin. You doing this stream is kind of an equivalent of that. Like, you build the brand up to a certain point, and then from there, you're able to leverage that into like, hey, I know what I'm talking about. And yeah, I would advise anyone to do that because we're coming to kind of like the end of the like the fact that the president is saying like we need to be number one in crypto tells you like it's not 2017 anymore, or like 2019 when he was tweeting how he hated crypto. But anyway,
Yeah.
that was a whole nother thing. But yeah, Dano, thank you so much again for having me, man. I'll definitely have to come on again because I really enjoyed rapping with you and whatnot, and I really appreciate that you do these streams for everybody.
Oh, thank you very much, and thank you for. We're always like, thank you. We're gonna be very apologetic, very, very, very grateful for your time. Thank you so much. Yeah, you did. I know you didn't even have to do this. I mean, you probably had all kinds of stuff planned today. You're probably busy, man. So
Dude,
I really,
every day is a day for the ticker, and this is a part of that. So.
yeah, I know. Like I said, I always make the joke that like the ticker's never paid me a dime, and I will shill it for free. Like it's like
Yeah.
that's when you really like something is like you'll talk about it getting paid or not. So
I mean,
this is not a paid stream.
I told the other guys, like I need to have kids so that way someone will run the project after we die, right? My girlfriend, she's telling me, like, if we were to get married, you have to move this into your office. And I was like, I don't know, because our kids, that's kind of their future career, whether they like it or not.
I mean, I got my kids, so she already know. When I say Harry Potter Obama, she says ticker Bitcoin. She already knows.
Oh, all right, let's go. That's Dad of the Year.
When I show her the Sonic, she says Harry Potter, Sonic, Obama. It's really funny.
That's great. I love it. Thank you again, Dano. You have a good rest of your day, and we'll talk again soon.
You too. Peace.
See ya.
Awesome. Man. It's so cool bringing these people on because I get to just like really pick their brains on stuff and just kind of get true market sentiment, but then also just learn that you learn so much talking to people. You get their stories, you get their background, and it's just so valuable. Like I realized that over doing these live streams is the more that I've always had people come on, I'm like, why don't I do that more, man? Like I got to have more people on. But yeah, thank you so much, Graham. I really appreciate it. That was super cool. Guys, so if you want to follow Halloween2008, which if you don't know the lore of his name, that's basically when Bitcoin was created, the white paper. So a lot of lore connections with Bitcoin and ticker Bitcoin. But if you want to follow Halloween2008 Graham, he's at Halloween in 2008 on X. So make sure you guys are following him because he's always posting some pretty good things and takes on the market. And thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you hit the like button, hit the heart button, the repost button, wherever you're watching from. If you're on X, if you're on Twitch, if you're on YouTube, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. And when the streams are over, make sure you leave a comment. It helps with the algorithm, helps with that algo. And yeah, thank you. Really appreciate it. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.